To people around the world, Rich DeVos is mostly known as a self-made billionaire, a man who rubbed elbows with several Republican presidents, the motivational co-founder of Amway, and the owner of the Orlando Magic. Number 107 on the Forbes list of the 400 richest Americans for the year of 2017. But to people here in Grand Rapids, he's much more than that. He's a dreamer, one of the people who worked tirelessly to reform and repair the city, leaving a legacy of investment and charity, pushing West Michigan into the future. From the convention center and hospitals that bear the DeVos name to downtown hotels like the Amway Grand and JW Marriott, to the contributions he's made to the arts, museums, local neighborhoods, parks, schools, and universities. His family's generosity having such a large impact, it's hard to imagine Grand Rapids without them.
Mr. DeVos, when you started investing in the city decades ago, did you ever envision it to be what it is today?
No one has that kind of vision or dares to dream that big. But over 10 years ago, we sat down on my boat in the South Pacific with a little group of 10 of us who were with me at the time and talked about what could be. And this was a part of the long-range dream.
Richard DeVos was born in Grand Rapids on March the 4th of 1926. A product of the Great Depression, his family had to leave their home for a rental house for a while. Learning the value of $1, he became a paperboy for the Grand Rapids Press. Then as a teenager at Grand Rapids Christian, he met his lifelong business partner, Jay Van Andel, who had something Rich wanted, some wheels, a Model A Ford.
So I approached him at school one day and asked him if I could hook a ride with him. And we agreed on 25 cents a week to buy all the gas we needed.
Their first financial deal. Throughout the years, the stakes got much higher and the friendship a lot stronger. After a few small ventures, Mr. DeVos and Mr. Van Andel turned a basement business into a multi-billion-dollar company and did it like they did so many other things, together.
In the absence of one or the other, either one would speak for the other, and that was it. The other guy didn't come back and undo it. He said, "You can speak for me anytime." And so that was that kind of a trust relationship. So loyalty, but you see, we were loyal to each other, but there was a trust factor that took place that makes loyalty work.
Their styles complemented each other, DeVos the dreamer, Van Andel the pragmatist.
In the business, I'm always kind of up and down, and I'm always, let's do this, let's go off and do that. And he's, yes, man, let's. He was always a steady hand at the wheel. I would give the spark, but Jay would keep us on the right track.
Clearly a partnership that worked. After 2 years of service in the Air Force during World War II, Rich came home to Grand Rapids to work on another lifelong relationship, the one with Helen Van Vietsub, a girl he met at Grand Rapids Christian. They married in 1953 and stayed together for more than 60 years before Helen passed away in 2017 at the age of 90. Her name now graces the site of Helen DeVos Children's Hospital, and the couple's legacy lives on in their 4 children, Dick, Dan, Sherry, and Doug. A new generation of like-minded Grand Rapidians who've carved their own paths in business, philanthropy, and politics. And that path extends to the in-laws, with Rich's daughter-in-law Betsy being named President Trump's Secretary of Education. That dedication to politics and public service, traits they all learned from Mr. DeVos, who served on the boards of virtually everything from the Grand Rapids Symphony and Grand Valley State University to the Gerald R. Ford Foundation and Grand Action Committee. But this powerful man also dealt with his own life and death struggle. In the 80s, he had his first heart bypass surgery. After a second bypass in the 90s, he learned his heart was failing. But because of his age, medical history, and rare blood type, he was turned down for a transplant here in the U.S. It forced DeVos to travel to London, where he was battling against the clock, waiting for a perfect match. Eventually, doctors found one, saving his life. That experience inspired him to become an advocate for organ donation and to start the Richard DeVos Heart and Lung Transplant at Spectrum Health. A key element to that program, bringing back to Grand Rapids a member of the superstar team that performed his own surgery years ago. Dr. Oscar Kagani, now considered one of the world's leading cardiologists.
What it does is it changes the stature of the hospital. See, it says this is the ultimate hospital. It does everything. And we've got wonderful people.
Just one way Rich DeVos' legacy is changing the face of West Michigan, his lasting friendships, faith in God and country, and the desire to dream the American dream.
You got to have that dream. That's why the people talk about having a dream. You got to have a little bit of a dream.